You so much, Murshida and Seal, and thank you, Haryati and Aisha, for joining us today. So I'm Marylen. So I'm from Philippines, and I'm based in Singapore for the last 10 years now. And we are actually passionate about helping leaders and organizations across industries in different countries as well, to help by helping them to level up their game as well, and also to continuously learn and improve in their in whatever they do in all aspects, by co-creating these programs or customizing programs for them with the help of our world-class resources. So just a fun thing I wanted to read as well. I actually, like, this is something that I do once in a while to, like, to raise my self-awareness as well. So it's like a game or like a quiz that I take online. I think this one is from Name Test as well or something. And they said that your name actually stands for something or has a meaning to it. So I just wanted to read this. It says here that Maryland stands for M for modest, A for awesome, R for romantic, Y for youthful, L for lovable, and E for energetic, and N for nice. Do you agree to that? At least for those who are here and who knows me. Because they said that your name is your identity and it has the most beautiful values attached to it. Your name shows your personality and depicts your inner self. You are driven by the virtues of your name, and it is truly incredible. Share this with your friends, it says. So I'm sharing it with you today for the first time, I guess. And it's kind of funny, but at the same time, I'm actually enjoying it. And that leads me to my first point of how I actually created my five-figure months from ground up. So the first point I wanted to share with all of you is self-awareness, because I believe this is like the foundation. And as you know, Murshida, I've also like gave my thoughts and talk about this same topic. So I'm very passionate about this one. And I believe that this is one of my strengths as well, being self-aware. So and there are so many ways for us to have that self-awareness. First of all, of course, understanding ourselves, understanding our strengths and the things that we can actually improve on as well. And maybe some people would ask, like, how can you do that, right? So that's one thing that I do. I do all those name tests for fun, and see, like, oh, let's see what comes up here. And interestingly, quite a lot of the tests I've took are like very close to, or like oh, they're right. How did they know? I don't know as well. And also, like, the amazing thing that Aisha has been doing, and I'm so privileged that I'm partnered with her as a mastermind. So she does numerology, and it's interesting how your birth date can actually, like, tell so much about you. So she gave that to me on an awareness and conscious level, like how my birthday actually speaks about me as well. And of course, another thing that we can do is through reflections, right? We always have to, like, ask the right questions to ourselves and reflect on what we do, the thoughts that we have, on a regular basis, if as much as possible, right? And some people find me weird as well because I ask for feedback. I do interviews with family, friends, and to ask them, like, from, like, your experience with me, how do you think I am, like, what's my strengths, what are the things that I have to improve on, and all those stuff. So feedback is important because sometimes there are blind spots as well. So that for me is self-awareness, being able to um, look into your thoughts, your behaviors, your emotions, your actions as well. So my second point then is mindset. I mean, Marshida, you've made mentioned this earlier, and like we all know how important mindset is, right? In whether it's, whether you're an employee or especially if you're an entrepreneur, this will really help you a lot in terms of getting or putting yourself together. Because if you have the right mindset, then your thoughts, your behavior, your emotions, and actions also follows, right? So that's why you've been helping us, the whole community, on raising that vibe that we have as well. And again, one of the things that I've been focusing recently is on leadership mindset, right? Because I've when I did several interviews, and I always have conversations with my clients. I mean, that's part of how you can actually build a relationship and serve them better, right? So I would always ask them like, what's the usual challenges that they're facing? What are their problems? What do they think are the top things that they have to take note of, that they have to address? And I would say that a lot of these challenges comes from the mindset of the leaders as well, and because leaders drives a lot of the business, and it's important for them to have the right mindset as well. And as we know, like COVID-19, which hit us for the last 1.5 years, right? Those that are actually having the right mindset are the ones who are doing well in their business, in their organization at this point in time. And part of having a good mindset as well is for you to be able to surround yourself as well with the people who would always lift you up and who wants the same results that you want as well. So that's where your community will be important in supporting you to have that and keep that right mindset, right? So my point three would be focusing on what you want and what you can control. So in business, if people would ask you what are your challenges as an entrepreneur, you can go on and on for 2 days probably, or 3 days, because there's always like a lot of challenges that you will face as an entrepreneur, right? When I started my business, I don't have anything. I have to build my website. I have to build my database. I have to learn a lot of things as well, because when I started, I actually started with a lot of technical programs. So imagine, like, it's really like in the Philippines we call that nosebleed because you don't understand a lot of things, you know. And when I started, I said, like, technical niche. These are oil and gas programs and other technical programs that, we have provided to our clients. And that's where, like, I would say where I get really a lot or bulk of my sales in the technical solutions that we are providing. And I'm so blessed that the gurus are actually so willing to work with me as well. So that's really some of my strengths, I would say, networking, in being able to build relationships with both clients and partners, right? And I remember one time, like, a department head in Petronas asked me these questions. I'm about to leave. I'm almost at the door already. And then he suddenly like called me. I think he cannot, take it, or he cannot contain it anymore. So he said, by the way, Marylen, I'm just curious to know, I'm sure you're doing a lot of things on a one woman show. Um, how how are you able to make all these gurus work for you or work with you? And then I said, like, oh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. Probably they don't know how to sell themselves. And that's true. I mean, for most of the people, especially trainers, consultants, right? Um, selling themselves are like, is something of a challenge for them. And it's good that, it's actually my strength to be able to market, to increase visibility, and to put them in front of their target audience. So Yeah, so I think that's also like one thing that we need to take note of as well, to focus a lot on what we want and what we can control. So that means we need to ensure that we have a vision, we have our goals, and we focus on ourselves as well, because it's not going to be easy to control anybody else around us or in the environment, but it's more on like focusing on how we will respond to others, and to whatever external things that are happening to us, right? So, and what I've noticed as well is that most people are actually focusing on what they don't want, and that's the reason why it's so difficult for them to get what they want. And so if we just, it's easier said than done, I know, because sometimes I also fall for that. So, but then if we just, focus on the things that we want and we can control, then that will be really helpful for us to get to the things or the goals that we have in mind. And number four, and I think this is one of the most important as well, is taking action. So sometimes, especially like I've heard a lot of times this one, in terms of like when they work from home, especially I've been working from home for the last 7 years when I started my business. They would say like it's so difficult, no, if no one is looking. Like it's like and then it's the bed is just nearby you, you can anyway anyhow sleep, you can just turn on your your phone, your television, and all those stuff. There's a lot of distractions that can, and some people would say that it's hard to be motivated when working on your own business, or as on your own in your house, right? So but I would say that when you take action, you have to be planning, you have to be persistent, you have to be consistent, and you have to really take actions towards your goals, your strategies, and all those stuff, right? For me, it I've always been an action taker, I would say. So I'm just grateful that I am. So every time, like, okay, when I think of an idea, I would like, take action on that. So if I said like, oh, I wanted to build my credibility and consistency in the social world, I want to build my my presence. And it wasn't easy when COVID hits. I used to go and travel around, to visit my clients, but when COVID hits, what will I do to stay connected with them? How can I actually continue to add value? So I have experimented a lot of things. I've observed other companies, other entrepreneurs, on what are they actually doing in the last few months, right? Can I actually like duplicate those? Is it something that I can do as well? And is this something that my clients would also like entertain or would want to have, right? So it's just basically like experimenting, testing, taking actions every time you get an idea, because you will only know if you do it actually. Just do it, right? So next point will be, I would say, getting a coach or mentor. And that's the reason why I'm here as well with your community, Zil and Marshida, because I know that, there will always be blind spots. There will always be, because I'm the type of person that sometimes, or most of the time, I would say, I would need to have that conversation. I would need to have that brainstorming. I would need to check like, what am I missing out actually, right? And that's where coaches and mentors, I mean, we are in the same mentorship program as well with Kane and Alicia. I have like several coaches and mentors that I work with as well. And I believe it's important because it really like helps you level up, to get to the results that you want and to keep you going. Because sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, challenges will always come here and there, everywhere. But then if you are, stronger than those challenges that you will have, if your vision and your purpose is higher than that, then you don't need to be motivated. You will do it at any time, at any day, despite of, and that's where resilience comes in as well, like what you mentioned in your earlier introduction, right? So for me, like coach and mentors are important because they would really teach you the shortcuts. I would say it's more of a leverage rather than anything, um, because they've been there, done that. And the reason why I also got attracted to you and Zeal is because when we attend training programs, I see how your high vibe is, and I wanted something that you are already doing. I noticed, your media exposure, as well as the social impact that you've been creating. And I said, I wanted to do that as well. So, so that's the reason why I keep on, following and communicating with you and all those stuff. Yeah. And also, it's also like an opportunity for you to ask the right questions to yourself. Because sometimes, even though I've been asking myself a lot of the right questions already, but sometimes I still, like, miss out some questions that I should ask. Like yesterday I had this conversation with a consultant, and then he told me that I've seen what you've been doing. It's really amazing, but sometimes you have to know how you can prioritize things as well, right? Are you like making this decision or actions around, to be able to learn, or are you actually doing this to to give you that income or sales that you want to have? And those kind of questions that I do miss out to ask myself, right? And like when we had our conversation 6 months ago, I think he asked me some questions, which he's actually doing like an interview with C levels from around the globe as well, on a private basis. And then we had this conversation, and he asked me a question, and I said, like, interestingly, I've realized, that and that's because I'm having like good conversation with mentors and coaches as well. I said, like, in fact, I should be more confident about what I do. And sometimes some clients would think differently from how you talk to them, but also because it's the vibe or the confidence that you exude when you talk to them. And he said, like, oh, I'm really glad you're more grounded now, because when I told him, you know what, in fact, it's really not, I don't have to, to push myself to clients, because I already know for a fact that we're creating outcomes, results, and impact for our clients. In fact, I haven't even like updated my testimonial page, and it's already 10 pages. So I said, like, it's actually like, they have the problem and I have the solution to their problem. So it's really like more of like, oh, okay, so it's they are the ones who need me, right? Or who needs me and my team, right? Because they needed, solutions for their problems. So then when I said that, he said, like, oh, I'm really glad to hear that from you as well. And you're more grounded now compared to when we had our first conversation 6 months ago. And if you don't get to have that conversation as well with, consultants, mentors, or coaches, you don't really get to, like, notice that as well for, personally. So, and then that leads me to my next point of discipline and balance. When I started my business 7 years ago, I would wake up like 6:37 in the morning to exercise. and then I would treat it like a 9 to 5, 9 to 6. Like even in my own house, I would I have this schedule, and then I have to make my phone calls between 10 to 12 and 2 to 4 or whatnot. So I do have like my schedule block on what I do. I used to do like a lot of cold calling when I started as well. But now I'm really in a journey of like, how can I make it more consistent? How can I make it more sustainable? How can I actually leverage on better processes, right? And better system that I can incorporate in my business, right? So, and that requires a lot of discipline in doing and taking action, and again, doing things despite of whatever challenges or excuses that you might have, and also at the same time balance. As you know, I do have like 3 children. I have 1.5 years old, 4.5 years old, and a 15-year-old um, children. So I'm covering all the critical stages of motherhood as well, on top of growing my business. So when I said balance, it's about also forgiving myself when, because I'm the type of person who have a lot of to-do list. And sometimes some work that I put in, or to-do list that I would put in, actually requires a lot of work, more than the word that I put there. So it's more on sometimes forgiving myself as well, when I can't finish everything that I have written down, but at the same time having consciously having in mind that, okay, these are my tasks, I have to do this, I have to finish this, and all those stuff. And also, like, because my 2 toddlers are actually rolling around me on a daily basis at night. So like, and they, like, would sit down on and off, like left and right. So that means, I have to wake up so many times in each night. And so that's why sometimes I can't actually wake up early because of that, because maybe I would like wake up at least 5 times during my sleep, because I have like my children left and right. So that's why I said, like, it's okay. Unless I have meetings in the morning at 8, 9, or 10, then I would just stay with my children and sleep or enjoy. Next week I will have a checkup with for my son would have a checkup. So like, okay, more or less I wouldn't have much time to work anymore during that time, but it's okay. So last time I can't do that. It's like, "Oh, I need to work, I have to do this, I have to do that." No, it's no excuses and all those stuff. But then, nowadays I've actually work on that, like, it's okay. You can do that tomorrow, or you can do that on the next day, and all those stuff. So it's about balancing as well, being a mom and a business person as well. And this is also like one of the things that the next point is actually what a lot of us do miss out, is really, like, especially for mothers, especially those with small children like me. So it's about also taking time to care for yourself, even breathing or exercising, having a massage, and enjoying and celebrating, having the food, the drinks that you want, or whatever ways that you wanted to actually celebrate yourself and take time for yourself, because self-care is really important. And this is something that I know is important, but I have missed out for the longest time. So recently I've been really like, okay, it's okay, I need to, have time for myself, and make time for myself as well, and do things that I enjoy, no matter how big or small it is. And celebrating the wins that I also have on a daily basis. And that actually gives me more energy when I do that, when I have my self-care, when I do the exercise, the breathing, and treat myself as well. So that gives me like more opportunity to have that. I love myself. I've done something for myself too, and I am important. So, and yes, and the last point I would like to share would be, I walk the talk. It's not that I'm providing training because of anything. In the first place, having a training company is already like a creating social impact, because we wanted um you know better leaders. We wanted to make this world a better place to live in, right? The fact that I'm focusing a lot of my effort and energy in adding value through learning, that's already like, as I would say, like a social impact for any reasons, right? So, and I've done that myself. I've been reading, watching, attending training, entering into coaching, mentoring programs, and all those stuff. And I'm a continuous learner, and not only because learner is one of my top strengths according to Gallup, but also I've actually, when I got exposed to training and seminars, networking here in Singapore 10 years ago, I actually seen like behavioral changes, skills, improvement, and even the mindset as well. Not only for myself but for the other people that I get to meet. And that's the reason why I said, like, oh, this is something that is really an investment that you can't take away from anyone. And that's the reason why I said, like, okay, despite that my experience is more on the hotel sales, event management, and customer service, I've actually decided to like really focus a lot of my energy moving forward on learning and development, leadership development, organizational development, and those kind of program. Because learning, whatever you learn, it's something that you can't take, nobody can take away from you. And I feel that it's more valuable than anything else that you can have in your life, right? And like I said, like even the best investors and richest investors in this world would say that that learning is actually, or investing in yourself is the best investment that you can ever make in yourself. And of course, like one of the successes, I guess, that I would have in doing my business is, of course, because I build relationship. And it's about building relationship with both partners and with clients, right? And a lot of times, even in our mentorship program, they would always say to ask to answer the question, what's in it for me, for your client, right? So, but I think for me, what I always ask is really more of, how can I add value? How can I contribute? And how can I make any dealings with others to be a win-win situation? And I've actually seen this another test that I did. And it says here that my quote, or my quote as Marylen Ramos, is, a path emerges when we walk on it. So it says here, and it explains the quote here: your life motto affects your attitude towards life and shows how you deal with problems. You are a born fighter, and that's why you never lose sight of your goals. And you won't give up before you reach them. This life motto suits you perfectly because it is the sum of all the personal experience you made in life. I think, and I think this motto is really suitable for me. I've always been resilient, and a fighter. since when I started. I'm kind of stubborn as well in getting my goals, no matter how much difficulty I have or challenges I would have. And that's gonna be important for you to build your business and get to where you want to be. And the good thing is that everyone can do that from ground up. Thank you.